Hey guys, tonight we're descending far below the sands of Egypt, not into the tombs you've heard of, not into the pyramids on postcards, but into something older, quieter, and almost entirely erased from history. Welcome to the Night Histories, where we whisper through the dust of forgotten places, drift into ancient shadows, and follow strange stories made not for textbooks, but for dreams. Our goal tonight, to guide you into sleep, not with silence, but with wonder, with one long, soft journey through time, through stone, and through the possibility that there is still something breathing beneath the Giza plateau, because lately, few maps have started surfacing. Old ones with too many lines, too many chambers, too many pyramids, and one drawn in red ink that circles a space deep under the sand, space no one has officially excavated. They're calling it Hidden City 2. But down here, names don't really matter. So what matters is that you're about to go there. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And in the comments, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. It's always fascinating to see where our little night journeys reach. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're standing on the Giza plateau, but it's not midday, and there are no tour buses, no hawkers shouting about souvenirs, no filtered photos being snapped of familiar silhouettes. It's night. The moon is high, round and full, its light spilling like milk across the ancient stones. The wind barely stirs the sand, just enough to whisper, just enough to shift a single grain onto your boot, and you're alone. Which is strange, because this place, this exact spot, should never be empty. But tonight, it's just you, in the quiet. Your eyes drip past the Great Pyramid, that monumental icon of mystery. But you don't look up, you look down, because something in the sand below your feet is calling. You kneel, gently brushing away a thin layer of grit. It comes off to easily. Beneath it, a hairline crack in the limestone floor, barely wide enough to fit a finger, but undeniably unnatural. Perfectly straight, perfectly wrong. You tilt your head, sound a low, throaty hum vibrates through your bones. Doesn't come from the wind or from the earth exactly. It comes from beneath it. You pressed your ear to the stone. There's no voice, no words, just intention. The kind of intention you feel when someone's about to speak, but they're waiting for you to listen. Then, a chill. A cool draft kisses your cheek. Possible for a desert night, impossible from solid ground. And yet, there it is. You look around, still alone. No guards, no tourists, not even a jackal in the distance. You run your fingers along the crack again. Now you see it, there's a thin outline, almost like a panel, a door. No hinges, no handle. But something in you knows. This opens, and somehow you're allowed in. There's a quiet gasp from the wind as if the night itself is exhaling. The panel shifts, just barely. A fine line of light glows from underneath. Soft, golden, ancient. You hesitate, then you don't. Your fingers slip beneath the edge and pull. The stone gives way like silk. Beneath it, a stairwell, not carved, not built, revealed. It smells like time, like dust and crushed flowers and forgotten breath. You descend, slowly, step deeper into a place that shouldn't exist. You tell yourself it's just an old passage, maybe a servant's route, maybe unfinished construction. Okay, but it doesn't feel like any of that. It feels intentional, personal, like it was meant for you. The stone here is smoother than it should be. No tool marks, no mortar. It's as if the rock itself folded around this path. Your hand trails along the wall, still warm. Not desert warm, but living. Warm, like skin after sleep. Deeper you go. No torch, no phone. Just the glow from below, guiding your steps, like memory. The hum gets stronger, but softer somehow. It's no longer sounded sensation. And then, as the stairwell curves, the air changes. Not musty, not dry. It smells like jasmine, in wet stone, in something else, like waiting. You pause, and the hum stops. Not like it cut off, like it's listening back. And for a moment, the dark holds its breath. You've crossed something. Not a doorway, not a timeline. It's a threshold of knowing. And it's too late to turn back, so you don't. You press forward, and the stone closes silently behind you. There's no going back. But that's not what you want anyway. You want to see what waits below, and it knows. The air shifts. It isn't cold like winter. It's the cold of old places, like stepping into a cellar that hasn't been touched in centuries. Cold that carries weight. Not just in temperature, but in memory, as if each breath down here contains the echo of another person's breath taken 1,000 years before yours. The stairs curve gently, impossibly smooth. They seem to know exactly where your feet will land. There are no carvings, no torches, no inscriptions, and yet you don't feel lost. You feel lead. The light glows faintly from the seams between stones like liquid gold trapped beneath the rock. Not bright enough to illuminate, but just enough to keep you moving forward. You run your fingers along the wall again, swarm, but not steadily. It pulses, not in a rhythm, you know, like a heartbeat, but older, slower, like something huge is sleeping beneath you. And this is the whisper of its dream. A few steps more, and you see it, a strange mark on the wall. It's not etched. It's grown into the stone, curved, thorny, almost like a vine or a scar. You touch it, it hums just for you. It reminds you of something between a script and a sigil, but not from any language you've seen. Not cuneiform, not hieroglyphs, not Phoenician. Yet. You understand it, not the meaning exactly, but the feeling that something was here, and it wanted to be remembered, but not by history. By you. You pause, turned your head. A gust of air, soft as breath, drifts down from behind you, okay? But when you look back, the stairwell is no longer there. It's just wall, smooth, whole, as if it never opened in the first place. You're sealed in, gently, lovingly, even. Like a book being closed after the last line is read. But still, you keep going, because strangely, you don't feel trapped. You feel expected. Around the next bend, you see it. A wide corridor, arching slightly, like the inside of a ribcage, and lining the walls, not carvings, but indentations, like fingerprints pressed into clay and then petrified. Some are deep, large, some tiny and delicate, some clawed. They're not decoration, they're evidence. As if hundreds of hands had reached out to touch this place, and the place remembered. You walk between them like passing through an ancient crowd. They don't speak, but they're watching. You duck slightly, the ceiling lowers, and suddenly the ground changes, no longer stairs, but soft, packed earth. Here. In the deepest part of the tunnel, the sand returns, but it's not dry desert sand. It's moist, almost cool. It clings to your boots. It wants to rise. You bend down and run your hand through it. Not grains, more like powder. Soft, dark, fine. Not black, not red. Strange purple hue, like crushed beetle shells. And then you see it. Footprints. Just a few, leading forward. They're not yours. They're fresh. You didn't come here alone. You follow them, okay? The passage narrows again, and then opens. A chamber, circular, perfectly smooth, lit by nothing but glowing. Soft, like twilight through fog. Okay. The walls are seamless, no bricks, no joints, no tool marks, just one long, uninterrupted shell at the center. A pedestal, low, rounded, organic, like a mushroom made of glass, sitting on top. A stone, small, irregular, but humming. It calls to you, but not with sound. With memory, you step closer, and there, reflected in the surface of the stone, you see your own face, but younger, older, not quite yours. You reach out, but before your fingers touch it, a breeze sweeps through the room. It smells like salt and saffron, and something metallic. You look up, the ceiling, if you can call it, that shimmers like water, like there's another world just above this one, ready to drip through. And just for a moment, you swear you see movement behind it. Not shapes, not people, just possibility. You step back, the footprints are gone. The stone still hums. You are no longer alone, but no one is with you. You close your eyes, and when you open them, the chamber is gone. Now you are in a hallway again. One you don't remember walking into, but the glow remains, and the pull stronger. Whatever is down here knows you're coming, and it is ready. The corridor begins to dip again, stockily at first, like a hallway that's just grown tired of being level. But after a few steps, the angle deepens. You're going downward again. Your footsteps echo strangely, now not sharply, not with crisp taps, but as if the sound is being folded into the walls and carried away, like a secret. And then you see them, stairs, but not the ones you've been walking on so far. These are different. Each step is broader, deeper, made of stone unlike anything you've touched. You crouch, running your hand over the edge. The surface isn't smooth, it's worn. But not by weather, by time, and not time as in years, or even centuries. Its kind of erosion feels older, as though thousands, maybe millions of feet have passed over this exact spot. You glance back, no sign of the chamber you just left. Only this descent, only these stairs. There's something familiar about them, not in design, but in feeling, like the part of your brain that dreams recognizes their pattern. You begin to descend. There are no railings, no sidewalls, only the stone steps and the silence that clings to them like mist. You notice, with each step, the ceiling arches slightly high ridge, one marked by a faint ridge, not carved, more like grown. You touch one, gently, feels like bone, not actual bone, but the shape of it, like the inside of a giant rib cage turned upside down. A quiet breath escapes you, and the walls answer not with words, but with a soft, delayed exhale. You pause. You're being listened to. The thought should terrify you, but it doesn't, single quotes. Instead, you feel cradled, as if the place itself remembers every person who ever passed here. And now it's adding you to that list. You reach a landing, wide enough to rest. And there, at the center, is a stone tablet, half buried in the dust. It's dark, almost obsidian, but flecked with specks of silver that catch the soft, sourceless light. You lift it gently. It's not heavy. The symbols on it aren't hieroglyphs. They're not anything from any catalog script. Yet you feel them, like how a scent can bring back a childhood memory. Even if you don't remember where it came from, the top symbol, it pulses, not physically, okay? In your mind, you close your eyes, and you hear it, a low, resonant tone like a tuning fork struck deep inside the earth, and with it, a whisper, before pyramids, before pharaohs, before names. You open your eyes, and the stairway changes, not in structure, in atmosphere. It suddenly feels sacred, not religious, older than that, like a place that was once open to the sky, then covered, not by design, but by forgetting. You continue downward, and you realize something strange. These stairs don't match any architecture. You know, no symmetry, no right angles, no mathematical precision. Instead, they follow a spiral that shifts ever so slightly with every level, as though designed not to bring you down quickly, but to give you time to remember, to adjust, to understand. The walls begin to change from stone to something else. Still solid, still ancient, but now embedded with faint, glowing veins of amber. You run your hand along one. It pulses, once then fades. You feel like you've just been scanned, like your presence has been logged. You don't know how. You just know, and that knowing feels normal, which should be worrying, but isn't. Far below, a flicker, another landing. This one larger, circular dot, and in the center, a dome. Not a ceiling dome, a miniature built into the floor. A model of a city, not Cairo, not Giza, something else. Tiny pyramids, curved roads, spirals within spirals. You kneel, studying it. Your eyes widen. This isn't a miniature of something someone wants to build. It's a memory. It's a record. A model of a place that once existed, and it lies beneath. Where you're standing now, you reach out to touch it. The whole room hums. Not loudly, but deeply. Like a drumbeat beneath your ribs. And you realize these stairs don't lead to ruins. They lead to something preserved, something kept, something that's been waiting. And now you are almost there. The air thickens, not like fog, not like smoke, something quieter than CERN. It's like walking into a memory that hasn't been thought of in millennia. Your breath catches for a moment. Then it matches the rhythm of the corridor slow, even ancient, almost guided down the stairs end. You're in a hallway now, but unlike the others, this one isn't empty. The walls are moving, not shifting, not crumbling. They're breathing. You press your hand to the stone just to be sure. Yes, there it is. The faint rise and fall like lungs under skin, and not fast, slow, immense, like the breathing of something the size of a mountain, dreaming beneath the surface of the earth. You pull your hand back. There's no fear in you, just awe, because, deep down, you understand this isn't alive the way we are. It's not a creature. It's memory, given form. The walls pulse again, and for a moment, you see something. Not directly, more like a reflection. Not on the surface of the wall, but through it. A flicker, a shimmer like torchlight on a pond. But the image is impossible. You see people moving, not modern, not even ancient in the way museums tell us, Wear robes of woven stone, masks of clay and bone. They carry glowing rods and walk not on stairs, but on air. They're not watching you. They're replaying like a loop, a trace of life caught in the amber of time. You blink. The image is gone. You step forward, and it happens again, this time on the opposite wall. New scene. A child resting on a stone cradle, its body covered in symbols, glowing softly like embers. An elder touches his forehead and speaks a word that echoes in your bones. Imta. You don't know what it means, but your body does. You move farther in. The corridor narrows gently, not to restrict, but to focus. It wants your attention. The light here doesn't come from lamps or torches. It radiates softly from the stone itself, pale gold, like candlelight under snow. And now, with each step, remember things that don't belong to you. A procession under a red moon, a temple shaped like a spiral seashell, a woman with silver eyes placing her hand on a map drawn in breath. You stop. You didn't dream that. You saw it, through the walls, but also inside yourself. You touch the stone again. It responds, not like a machine, more like a friend recognizing your voice after a long time. And you realize something strange. You are not just walking downward. You are walking backward through layers of time. Each step is not just space, but years. This place is not linear. It's stacked. You step again. See it? A mural blooming across the corridor wall, painted in crushed shell and lapis in ancient blood. Shows a pyramid, not the ones we know. This one is upside down, its peak buried deep in the earth. From its tip, vines of light reach out, like roots, spreading beneath the sand, feeding the land above. At the edges of the mural, familiar faces, pharaohs, priests, architects, all watching, all afraid. And in the center, something older, a figure cloaked in spirals, its face hidden, one hand raised, not in warning, an invitation. The caption beneath it, if you can call it, that's written in script that loops and weaves like silk caught in wind. You can't read it, but you feel it. It says, we buried it. Not because we feared it, because we loved it too much to let it be destroyed. You stand there, trying to grasp what that means, and then you notice your reflection in the faintly glowing stone is changing, not aging, shifting, as if the you that stands here is being layered with other versions, ones that have stood here before, ones that will stand here again. And you are all watching one another through the veil of stone. You step forward once more, and everything shifts. The sound of your footsteps no longer echoes like boots on floor. It hums. It joins a chorus, low, constant, deep, like stone remembering a name it hasn't spoken in 10,000 years. And you're beginning to remember it too. The corridor opens. Not abruptly, more like a sigh. The stone narrows, then breathes outward, and you find yourself standing at the edge of a vast underground square. But it's not a square in the geometric sense. It's organic, rounded edges, uneven lines, like it grew rather than was built. A plaza, hidden beneath the bones of the earth, and above it all, drifting lazily in the dim light. It's dust, but not dust that falls. Dust that floats like mist. It's gold and silver, copper, flecks suspended in the stillness, too perfect to be natural. You step into it, and the air changes again. It doesn't sting. It tingles, tiny sparks against your skin. It's like walking through a cloud of memory. You blink, and the square begins to reveal itself. Not all at once, but in slow, shimmering layers, like a photograph developing in warm water. At first, just outlines. The faint rise of walls, low pillars worn down by breath and time. Then more curved alcoves, niches containing bowls, broken tools, and one-sharp blades, now dull with age. And then the faces, dozens, no, hundreds, etched into the walls, into the very floor. Some crude, some impossibly detailed, all different, all staring upward, mouths closed, eyes wide. They aren't decorative, they're witnesses. You kneel beside one. Stone around the eyes is smoothed, worn like generations of hands passed over it for luck or remembrance. You press your palm gently to the cheek. It's cold, and then warm, like a heartbeat in stone. Your vision swims. You see a flick of this square filled with people, some seated, some kneeling, all silent, all waiting at the center. A platform, circular, hovering inches above the ground, and above that, a shape, not a person, not a statue, something like a cocoon made of copper and bone, wrapped in bands of red silk, pulsing with light that comes from within, not like fire, but like intention. You pull your hand back, and the vision fades. The dust hangs heavier now, glittering with every breath you take. You look up. There, barely visible through the golden fog, are structures, towers, not tall like the pyramids, shorter, thicker, rounded, built inward. You walk toward one. Its surface is carved with flowing shapes, no hard corners, no symmetry, more like writing designed to be felt than read. As you reach it, a low tone hums beneath your feet. The closer you get, the stronger it becomes. It vibrates with you. You place your hand against the structure, and in an instant, the dust parts, swept aside in a slow, elegant swirl, revealing the full layout of the square. And it takes your breath. You are standing in a city, not a ruin, not rubble, a preserved neural map etched into stone. Every walkway, every chamber, every structure placed not for utility, but for memory. As if this place remembers itself, even after all else has forgotten. You walk between two of the rounded towers, and something catches your eye. In the dust on the ground, footsteps. Again, not random, not careless, a deliberate path. And at the end of that path, half buried in fine golden grains, a mask made of stone, but smooth as porcelain. Empty eyes, a mouth curved in an expression neither smile nor frown. You lift it, and suddenly the dust whispers, not with sound, with pressure, with pattern like fingers brushing your thoughts. You feel names, thousands, none spoken aloud, but all stored right here, in this square, in this stone. You turn the mask over, and on the inside, a single symbol, not etched, grown, the same you saw earlier, the one that hummed. You realize you haven't just stumbled into a lost city, you've entered its memory bank, and it has entered you. You close your eyes, breathe in the golden mist, and for a moment, you don't know what century you're in, or which version of yourself is standing here. But it doesn't matter, because something old, some kind, and impossibly aware just opened the door, and now you're walking through it. You step beyond the dust into quiet, not silence. No, this place is never truly silent, but a different kind of quiet, like being underwater, where every sound bends, where even your breath feels distant. Before you lies a chamber, circular, vast, like the inside of a giant shell turned upside down. The air here is thick, but cool. You step forward and instantly stop, because even that sound doesn't behave the way it should. Your footfall echoes, then it doesn't. Then it echoes again, but not yours. Something else, like a footstep that doesn't belong to now, but is still walking. You try again, another step, and this time the echo returns with a delay, a few seconds behind. Then a full breath later. But when it comes back, it's different. It's you, but younger, softer, breathing like a child. You take another step, and again, the echo repeats, not the step, but a whisper. Your own voice, not saying words, just humming, a tune you forgot you knew. You freeze. The chamber is playing you back, but not just now. It's pulling echoes from before. You look up. The ceiling is impossible. A dome that doesn't quite curve right, too sharp at the top, too flat at the sides. More like a satellite dish than a temple dot, and on it, symbols glowing faintly, not with fire, but with heat you feel on your skin. You try to count them, fail. They shift, not visually, but conceptually, like trying to count stars that move when you think of numbers. You approach the center of the room. It dips slightly, just a few inches, enough that sound collects there, and in the center, a pedestal, worn smooth by countless touches. You don't touch it, not yet. You listen, because even in your stillness, echoes keep coming. Someone sighs, okay, then someone laughs, then a scream, muted, distant, swallowed by time, then silence again. And just when you begin to move, a new sound emerges, your own voice, reading something, something you've never seen, words you don't recognize. But no, you spin around. No one's there, and yet to hear footsteps, your own, from earlier. You're hearing your path play in reverse, and not just yours. There are others, centuries of others, walking these halls, each one leaving a fragment of sound behind. And this room has kept them all. You look down at the floor, and realize it's not stone, not entirely. It's porous, like coral, made to absorb, not just water, but sound, vibration, memory. You place your hand on the pedestal, and in that moment, everything goes quiet. A deep, a natural hush, so completed, presses on your ears, and then a pulse, Once, twice, not in the air, in your chest. Then the pedestal begins to glow. Only faintly pale blue light, like the edge of a glacier under moonlight, and the sound returns, but this time not random, not scattered, orchestrated, as if the room is choosing what you hear, showing you a conversation looped across centuries, a scholar describing symbols, a child asking what the light means, a woman praying not in fear, but gratitude, each voice layered, prated, a chorus of curiosity, and now your voice joins them, not loud, just a breath, a sigh, and the room keeps it, stores it, adds it to the archive. You step back, and the room hums, in approval, not loudly, just enough to feel in your ribs. You look around and realize there are corridors here, 6 of them spaced evenly along a circular wall, each wide enough to walk through comfortably, each radiating out like the spokes of a wheel or the branches of a neuron. You step toward the first, and it breathes. Yes, breathes. exhling, soft air, scented faintly with minerals and rain. You've never smelled rain this deep underground. You pause, glance back, but the echo room does not protest. It simply listens. You choose the leftmost corridor and step in, because somewhere in these branching halls, something ancient is waiting to be remembered, and you are its next echo. You follow the corridor in silence, not because you must, but because it feels wrong to speak here. This isn't a hallway. It's a pulse, a vein inside, something vast and sleeping. You don't walk, you drift, feet brushing ancient stone, polished by thought more than time. As you move, you notice the curves, subtle but steady. Not a straight path, but a spiral. It's like descending through the shell of a creature, long fossilized. The walls begin to shift, no longer flat. They ripple, ridges, grooves, soft rises like muscle under skin. Then you reach it, the chamber. You stop, just outside the threshold. The air here is cooler, thicker, and lit barely a faint phosphorescence. It's a kind that might come from mushrooms or deep sea creatures. You step inside, and there it is, the map on the ceiling, not painted. It's not carved, groaned, tapestry of bones and glowing stone woven into the curve above your head. Ribs of unknown creatures arch like riverbeds. Vertebrae twists into curves and corners, winding like ancient streets. Tiny teeth may be human, maybe not. The borders like stars on the edge of a sky, and the light, it pulses, soft, regular. You lie down gently on the floor of the chamber. It invites you, and from this angle, it becomes clear. This is not just a map, it's a body made into a city, or a city made to reflect a body. You try to trace it, hear a line like the Nile, but it bends wrong, curves back, loops like a serpent swallowing its tail. There are clusters of glowing stone, settlements, but not in any pattern you've ever seen. And then you notice something chilling. At the center of the map, where the heart should be, is a hole, small, precise, drilled not through bone, but through meaning. Something was taken from here, a relic, a core, whatever it was, it's missing. And around that void, cracks, hairline fissures that extend outward like lightning. You squint. Each crack is lined with tiny glyphs, impossible to read, but you feel them hum, and something inside you hums back. You sit up, and in the dim light, you see that the bones are moving, not shifting, just breathing, ever so slightly, as if responding to your heartbeat. You stand and realize this map is not passive. It's a receiver. It's watching you back. You touch the wall beneath the map, smooth but suddenly grows warm, and for a brief second you see it, a memory that doesn't belong to you. A woman in deep crimson robes standing in this same chamber, but it's not buried then. There's sky above and light, and the bones are brighter, cleaner. She's holding something. A sphere. It's dark, heavy. She places it in the hole at the center of the ceiling, and for a moment, everything glows, then fades. She steps back, whispers something, and disappears. You blink. You're alone again, but something remains. A single word going in your mind like breath on glass. Nature. You don't know the language, but the meaning slips into you. It's fluid and warm. Divine machine. You step back toward the doorway. One last glance at the map, and the bones seem to settle, almost as if they're relieved. You whisper, "I see you," and for the first time you think it hears. You turn and leave the chamber of bones behind, but the image stays with you, because the map doesn't show a land that was. It shows a body that still is, and you are walking inside it. The corridor bends once more, this time downward, a subtle slope, barely noticeable at first, then steeper, smoother, not carved, worn dot by hands, by feet, by memory. The air becomes still again. So still, you can hear your own pulse echoing off the walls, but it's not alone. There's another rhythm. It's not yours dot lower, slower, ancient dot, and as you descend, you begin to feel it in your ribs. Not like sound, it's like gravity. Then the light shifts. You emerge into another chambers, smaller this time, intimate, almost sacred, at the center. A statue. It faces away from you. Massive, solid, carved from a single slab of black stone. Shoulders hunched, arms folded. But the head is blank. No face, just a smooth oval of polished stone. You approach. Slowly. There's no threat here. No warning, but there is expectation. You step closer. Kate, the light bends. The blank face of the statue reflects not your shadow, not your face, but a version of you, slightly different. The posture is familiar, the tilt of the head, but the eyes, they are not yours, they are older. You lean in. The image shifts, younger now. Your own face, but with a scar you don't have. Hair longer, eyes softer, and there, around the neck, an amulet. One you've never worn, but suddenly remember. You step back. The reflection fades. Just stone again. You move to the side, and it returns. A different version. You, but cloaked in crimson, with sand-streaked skin and something ancient in your grip. You whisper, "Who are you?" The chamber answers not with sound, with presence. You've been here before, not in this lifetime, but in this loop. You circle the statue. Its arms are crossed tightly over its chest, where a heart might be. There's a hollow, small, circular, familiar to you. Think of the map, the missing core. You crouched at the base, an inscription, but not written, etched into thought. You feel it before you see it. A phrase, "Those who forget, their faces will wear the guardians." You touch the stone, and the air thickens. The chamber dims. The statue breathes, not with lungs, but with memory. A flood of images surges into you, a boy in rags, kneeling at its feet. A woman with inked palms, weeping as she presses her forehead to the stone. Priest, no, a librarian, reading aloud stories no one else could hear. Each face is different. Each reflection slightly wrong, 'cause the guardian doesn't show who you are. It shows who you've been. And maybe, only this time, Mitt smiles and then vanishes. You place your palm on the stone's chest. The hollow warms. The guardian's arms shift just slightly, enough to suggest movement, but they remain folded, waiting, because the true unlocking doesn't come from touch. It comes from recognition. And now that you've seen your face in another life, you can't unknow it. You step away, and the statue settles, but in your chest. Something new hums, a memory reattached, a thread redashed woven, and though the guardian made no sound, its silence follows you as you leave. You glance back one last time. The chamber is dim again, still, but you feel it. That stone is not alone. Because now, neither are you. You walk slowly now, not from fear, for reverence. Something in you has softened or awakened. The air grows denser again, softer, like mist without water, like breath held between centuries. You reach another opening narrow, curved inward. Like a mouth mid-dash sigh, you hesitate because the sound begins before you enter. Faint clicking, sharp, rhythmic, like bone tapping bone, or wind chimes made from forgotten prayers. You step through and the world tilts, not physically, but perceptually, because this is not a room, but it's a ritual, a chamber where gravity behaves differently. And in the center, suspended in the air, are teeth, hundreds, each one floating in perfect formation, not falling, not rising, just turning ever so gently in place, forming a vast spiral reaching from ceiling to floor, like a helix, like a staircase that doesn't exist, like a memory being whispered in molar and fanged. You step closer, and the clicking grows louder, but not threatening. Alive, each tooth spins at a different rhythm, some fast, some barely moving. You scan them. They are not all human. Some are flat, worn down by grain and years. Some are sharp predatory. Some are impossibly large. You reach out. The spiral reacts, shifts. One tooth floats closer, small, white, still stained with something brownish, red dot. You feel a pulse not from the tooth, but from inside you. A memory stirs, but it isn't yours. A woman kneeling before a river, pulling her own tooth with a polished flint. She whispers into it, then drops it into the water. It doesn't sink. It vanishes. The clicking pauses, then resumes. You glance around the room. Carvings line the walls, spirals within spirals, each one ending in the outline of a mouth, open, waiting beneath your feet. A shallow basin, empty but warm. You kneel beside it and notice your reflection is missing. The water shows only the teeth above you. Speak softly, a name from childhood, a scent you'd forgotten, and a single tooth spins faster, breaks from the spiral, floats down, lands in your palm. You don't flinch because you understand. This room doesn't take from you, it remembers you. One tooth per memory, one spiral per life. You look up, some of the teeth glow faintly, not bright, not constant, just pulsing, like hearts. You whisper again, who made this? And the clicking halts. A voicer's, but not replies inside your chest. You did, and then you will. You place the tooth gently back into the air. It hovers, joins the spiral again, finds its place as if it never left. You step back, and the clicking resumes. But now, it's musical, a lullaby made of enamel and time. You bow your head, not in worship, in recognition, because memory is not just held in stories. Sometimes it's hidden in the bones we leave behind. You turn to leave, and one last sound follows you. A laugh, yours, but older, echoing in the teeth, and smiling all the way down the hall. The spiral of teeth vanishes behind you, but the silence it leaves clings to your skin, like but coolness after someone whispers a secret in the dark. You move forward. Your steps grow quieter now, not out of caution, but reverence, as if the stones themselves are listening, and soon you feel it, that strange, almost tangible sensation being watched, not from behind, not from a single point, from everywhere. The corridor widens into a chamber, rounded, smooth, vaulted like a dome. Turn inside out, you take one step in and freeze, eyes everywhere, carved into the walls, etched into stone, inlaid with onyx and bone, and shells that shimmer softly under your breath. Hundreds, some wide with wonder, some slanted in suspicion, some closed dreaming, some not human. A falcon's eye here, jackal's eye there, even the deep, domed eyes of creatures long extinct watching you from every angle. You step forward again, and the temperature drops or rises. You can't tell, but something in the room reacts another step. The eyes glimmer, not with light, but with awareness. It's not threatening, just alert, like a field of mirrors. Trained on your emotions, your heart quickens, the nearest eye blinks, not physically, but in your mind. You take another step. An eye beside your shoulder sharpens, a pupil widens. A memory flashes you, as a child, hiding beneath a table during a thunderstorm. The feeling of cold tile, the smell of wet dust. You shake your head. The memory fades. Another eye reacts. Okay, different flash. You don't understand, but the room does, because this is no ordinary space. This is a chamber that watches, a place where your emotions are read, translated, reflected, not for judgment, but for recording. The Chi-A recorder. Each blink a transcription. They're not seeing you, they're seeing through. You reach the center. There's no altar, no pedestal, just a circle on the floor. A mosaic of blue and black and rust-colored tiles. You step into it, the chamber size, and then every eye closes at once, and you're plunged into inner silence. No sight, no sound, just breath. Your own, but not alone, because something inside the chamber breathes back in rhythm. With you, it doesn't speak, but it listens, and the more you quiet your mind, the more clearly you feel it. This place is in watching you. It's remembering you as you are, not who you were, not who you might become, but this exact version of you. Now, it imprints you, not onto paper, onto space. Your joy, your fear, your love, your loves, your reflection and emotion. The chamber blinks again. Soft lights shimmer across the eyes, then fade. The room exhales, and the silence returns, gentler this time, like a lullaby hummed by ancient tones. You leave the circle, walk back toward the passage. No eye follows you, but you feel their farewell, not in words, in warmth, in the knowing that you've been seen, fully, honestly, and somehow that makes you lighter. Not because you left something behind, but because something now carries part of you forward, in silence, in stone. In a chamber that never forgets. The air is thick now, but not with dust or time, with sound. You can't hear it clearly, not yet, but it hums beneath the silence, like voices trapped in glass. The corridor narrows again, not to confine, but to prepare. Soft descent. It's a ground cooler, damp, and then you feel it before you see it. Moisture, the scent of still water, not fresh, not stale, just ancient. You step through a final stone arch and enter the pool of echoes, a circular cavern, wider than any before, ceiling lost in shadow at its heart. A perfect mirror of water, black as obsidian, still as breath held to. Long, not a ripple, not a reflection, just depth. You approach slowly. Your footsteps are muffled here. Sound pulled into the water's surface like sleep into a dream. You kneel beside it, peer down. No reflection, not your face, not the ceiling. It's darkness. You reach out. Fingers skim the surface. Not cold, not warm, just aware. And then sound. It begins as a whisper. One voice, soft, female, not in English, not in anything you've ever studied, but you understand it. A lullaby, something about stars and forgetting. You press your hand flat, ripples bloom, and the pool responds. More voices, layered. A child, laughing, a man shouting a name, footsteps running. The clink of coins, the scrape of sandals on ancient stone. You close your eyes, and the voices deep in chants, prayers, wails, secrets. This pool is not water, it's memory. not your own. The city's. Every person who lived here, every word ever spoken near this cavern still exists beneath this surface, captured in sound, suspended in silence. You lie down beside it, ear pressed to stone, and it tells you stories. A girl arguing with her father about joining the priesthood, a man reciting laws older than pyramids, two lovers whispering beneath stolen moonlight. The water pulses with their echoes, not haunting, not sad, just present. You dip your hand again. One voice cuts through the others, clear, familiar, your own, but younger, softer. You don't remember ever speaking those words, yet they belong to you. A fragment, a possibility, a self that might have existed here long ago, or might still exist elsewhere in the spiral of time. You sit up, the water stills, the voices fade, but not completely. There's a hum now, beside you, a resonance, as if your bones have memorized the sounds, the stories, the sorrow. You rise, and for a moment, the surface of the pool glimmers, not with light, with recognition. It has heard you, and now you've heard it. As you step away, the chamber remains silent, but it no longer feels empty. It feels full, alive, waiting for the next echo to arrive. You look back, and though the water shows nothing, you know it's watching, listening, always. The chamber of echoes fades behind you, but its sounds still shimmer in your chest, soft as memory, sharp as truth. You walk in silence now, not because there's nothing to say, but because some places demand reverence. The corridor widens, stone gives way to sky, or what looks like sky. Above you, a vast dome of carved obsidian, etched with constellations that don't match any night you've ever known. Some stars shimmer faintly, others flicker, like they're trying to remember how to shine. And in the center of the stone courtyard, bathed in dim light from somewhere that doesn't exist, a sundial, or rather, what's left of one, shattered into a dozen jagged pieces. Each shard lies at a strange angle, some embedded in the floor, others leaning against one another like ancient arguments, frozen mid-sentence. And strangest of all, each piece casts its own shadow. You approach, step over cracks in the stone, pause. The shadows aren't right. They don't follow the light. They don't follow you. One points directly north, another to the west. A third curls back toward the entrance, like it's trying to reverse time. You move to the largest fragment. At its base, a faint inscription, worn by centuries. You kneel, trace it with your fingertips. The words shimmer slightly, responding to your touch. To see time clearly, one must first let it break. You blink, and for a moment you're not here. You're elsewhere, standing in the same courtyard, but it's whole. The sundial complete, the sky bright. People move around you, priests in red, scholars in bone-colored robes, children chasing birds, dash shatter, a thunderous crack. The image collapses. You're back in the ruins. The shadows shift again. Now, they overlap. A tangle of directions. You step onto one. Just one. Instantly, a flood of visions. You're older. Your hands are wrinkled. You're writing in a language you don't know, but somehow it's yours. You blink, step back, another shadow, another version. This time you're a child, laughing, spinning. Time doesn't move forward here. It spirals. Each shard of the sundial is a path, a possibility, a memory, a warning. You stand in the middle. Turn slowly. The shadows twist beneath your feet. Some stretch long and soft, others short, sharp, angry. Each one is a direction time once tried to go and failed. You kneel again. This courtyard, wasn't just a timekeeper. It was a time fracture, a point where timelines met, where futures collapsed into each other like waves in a shallow pool. No wonder the city buried it. No Wonder the shadows still fight to be. Sin. You close your eyes, feel them swirl around you, and then choose none. You stand. Step away. The shadows retreat. Quiet. Patient. You understand? Now, time isn't broken here. It's listening, waiting to be remembered. And as you walk through the last arch, you carried the sense that every second of your life, past, present, future, has already happened beneath this sky, just waiting for your footsteps to find it again. You didn't mean to find it. You didn't even notice the shift at first, the way the walls bent subtly, the way the air thickened just a little too much with every breath. One step forward, then another, and suddenly you're inside a room. But there's no door behind you, no arch, no passage, smooth walls, seamless as if grown, not built. You turn in a slow circle, no windows, no openings, just light, soft, golden, sourceless, like the kind that fills dreams. Right before waking, the room isn't empty, but nothing here makes sense. A table floats gently 2 feet above the floor, its legs curled like roots, trying to find soil in mid-air. A chair spins lazily, its wood warped in ways wood should never move. One wall breathes, not metaphorically. It inhales, surface rises and falls like the chest of a sleeping animal. Another wall is covered in writing. The words shift, just when you think you've caught a sentence. She remembered the "it's gone," morphed, twisted into something new. You approach it, place your palm against the surface, and feel something familiar, not personal, not yours, but known. A memory that doesn't belong to you. Not in the way dreams don't belong to you, but still feel like they might. You see a boy watching a comet blaze across the sky. He's not you, but somehow you remember what it felt like to wish on that light. You blink. The room flickers. The table is gone, replaced by a series of floating boxes, transparent, pulsing softly. Each one contains fragments, a broken doll, a burned letter, lock of silver hair. You realize what this place is. It's not a prison. It's a vault for borrowed. Memory. This is where the city stored what didn't belong. Lost dreams, forgotten lives, ghosts of visitors who passed through like you. But instead of erasing them, it kept them, not as punishment, as archive. Your breath fogs the air. The room responds. A small drawer slides out from the wall. Inside, a mirror. You look in, but it's not you. Not quite. It's a version, softer around the eyes. It's taller maybe, smiling at something you've never seen. The mirror ripples, and you whisper, "I don't remember this." It's the room. It's XHALS, as if satisfied, because that's the point. Not all memory must be yours to be felt. Some dreams are meant to be borrowed. Lived once, released. You walk to the far side. The wall there feels different, thinner. You press your hand against it. It doesn't open, but it yields, like thinking. Then slowly, it lets you through. Not with the door, but with trust. And as you pass through the soft veil of the wall, you carry something new. A memory that isn't yours, but somehow makes you feel more you than ever before. The memory room recedes like fog, in sunlight. You don't know how you left it, only that you did, and now you're descending again. The air grows warmer, but not like desert heat. This is different. This is living warmth, like breath, held in a stone chest for centuries. The corridor opens into a small chamber. Low ceiling, circular walls, carved benches, along the edges worn smooth by use, and in the center a flame. Blue, still, perfect. No smoke, no flicker, just flame. It hovers 3 inches above a blackened stone pedestal. No wick, no fuel, no shadow. You take a step closer, expected to dance, to recoil, to react. It doesn't. It watches. You take another step. The heat is gentle, welcoming, not from the air, from within. It's warming you from the inside out. And then a sound. Or, no, a thought, but not yours. Clear, sharp, urgent. She left. The gate open again. You freeze. Look around. No one. Another thought arrives. Different tone. Deeper voice. The stars are fading. That cannot be a good sign. You close your eyes, and the voices grow louder. But not voices. Thoughts. You're hearing the minds of people long gone. Echoes. Fragments. Private. Moments. And they are not speaking to you. They are speaking to each other. Through the flame. This fire. It's not just light. It's a network. A consciousness web. The eternal ember of connection. The ancients believed this flame held the soul of the city. They weren't wrong. It remembers the ones who built, the ones who fought, the ones who loved, wept, vanished, and now it knows you. You reach out. The heat wraps around your fingers like silk, soaked in sunlight, not burning, binding. You feel it draw something from you, not forcibly, gently. A thought, a memory, a worry you didn't even realize was heavy, and in return, it gives you one. You didn't mean to leave. You just couldn't stay. You inhale sharply. It's not your memory, but it fits perfectly in the hollow place between your ribs. You sit beside the pedestal. Listen. Hey, lullaby in a language lost before history began. A joke so old it loops back into wisdom. A goodbye whispered without bitterness. This flame, it doesn't burn, it remembers. And when the city fell, when the sand tried to claim everything, the flame stayed, holding the mind of the city intact. 1,000 voices, 1,000 souls, all gently whispering into the night. You lean closer, close your eyes, and for a moment, you feel like part of them, connected, threaded, not alone. Then a whisper just for you, soft, clear. You've almost reached the heart. You open your eyes. The flame flickers, just once, a wink, and you understand. It knows where you're going, and it's waiting. You leave the chamber slowly. The warmth of the flame still hums in your chest. A quiet echo of connection, as if something ancient had gently placed its hand on your shoulder and didn't quite let go. The corridor curves again, narrow, smooth, descending, and then the floor falls away. Not in danger, but an invitation. Before you now, a stairwell, spiraling downward into a darkness so complete you can't see the bottom, or even the next step, but you take it, because the city wants you to, because the flame said, you've almost reached the heart. Each step is broad, carved from sandstone worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, or perhaps it's just the weight of memory. Your hand trails the wall beside you, and that's when you feel them, names etched deep into the stone, in tight rows that climb endlessly upward and spiral below your feet. Some written in letters you recognize, others in glyphs, symbols, curves, and dots and slashes, but all names. You pause, run your fingers across a few. Some are simple, Nayat, Dalen, Raya. Some are longer, wrapped in entire histories. Child of the sky, who waited too long. Keeper of the 7 rains, the one who whispered to fire. They are more than names. They are titles, identities, legacies. You keep walking, and then you see it. One name lit softly, glowing with pale gold light, as if the stone itself remembers them more clearly. You lean closer, and something strange happens. You feel pulse, your own heartbeat. No, there's AMINA, just that. But your lips form the name before your mind even registers it. You don't know an AMIN, do you? Your foot lands on the next stair. Another name glows, and another one. Every few steps, each one triggers a flicker in your memory. Not full recollections, but emotions. A sense of longing, a taste of honeyed figs. A sudden, inexplicable sadness for a friend who never existed. You pause, halfway down. The spiral here grows wider, the air thinner. You look up, 1,000 names above you. You look down, 1,000 more. You begin to wonder, is your name somewhere here? Waiting. You close your eyes, whisper it, and something stirs in the stone. Not light, but warmth, as if the wall had just smiled. You walk again. This isn't just a stairwell. It's a registry, a memory palace. Every soul who ever passed through the hidden city recorded here, not in ink, not in data, but in stone and breath and light. And the ones whose names glow, they haven't been forgotten. Not entirely. Someone, somewhere, still remembers them. Maybe you, maybe just this place, and maybe that's enough. The stairwell ends not in a door, but a hush, a silence so dense it folds around your shoulders like a cloak. Ahead, a stone arch carved in total darkness, but the names still follow you, glowing softly like fireflies caught in time. You step forward and feel the weight of every soul that walked this city before you, not pressing down, but lifting, carrying you into the heart of what comes next. You pass through the arch and the air changes. It doesn't cool, doesn't warm, doesn't move. It simply is, still, patient, waiting. And then the space opens, not into a hallway, not into another dim chamber of stone and dust, but into a perfect sphere. A chamber without corners, without shadows, without sims. You've reached it, the heart of the city. You feel it before you see it. A slow thrum, like the quiet heartbeat of something impossibly old. The chamber walls curve up and around in seamless grace, carved with glyphs and swirling lines that shift so slowly you barely notice. You stare too long at one symbol, and it has changed, not transformed, just evolved, as if the symbols are not fixed language, but living grammar, adjusting to your presence, to your thoughts. Then you see it, floating in the very center of the chamber, a sphere of light. It hovers effortlessly, just above the floor, pale, golden, with veins of blue and green flickering, like quiet lightning trapped in crystal. It casts no shadow, yet it illuminates everything. You approach. Each step is muffled, like walking through the memory of a dream. The closer you get, the more you feel it. Not warmth, not energy, but story. Every footfall brings new glimpse behind your eyes. A cart pulled by oxen through a flooded marketplace. Children dancing around a copper pillar. A woman placing a crown of woven reeds on a statue, weeping. You stop, barely a breath away from the sphere, and you ask, without words, what are you? The answer comes not in sound, but sensation. I am the city's memory. I am everything they dared not forget. You reach out, touch the sphere, and in a flash, see everything. Not like a movie, not even like a dream, but like being. You're a stonemason carving the first passage. Your hands cracked, singing to yourself in a dead language. You're a priest lighting incense with trembling fingers, terrified the gods will not answer. You're a child racing through the dust, chased by a goat, laughing with a missing tooth. You're a woman in mourning, lacing your lover's name into the spiral stair. You're all of them. You're none of them. You're watching the city rise, stone by stone, breath by breath. Its creation wasn't sudden. It was deliberate, patient, layered like music, written in sand and sealed beneath the earth. And then you see the moment it ended. The collapse. Wasn't a war. It wasn't fire. It was forgetting above ground. They stopped believing it mattered, stopped remembering it was even real. And so the city folded in on itself, not destroyed, just quieted. But the heart kept beating, waiting for someone to remember, to listen. You pull your hand away. The images fade, but their weight remains. Pressure behind your eyes, your ribs, your teeth. You've Seeing the soul of a city, not in ruins, not in stories, but alive, dormant, dreaming. The glyphs on the walls slow their motion. One settles into a shape you recognize now. It means, we're glad you came back. You stand in the stillness, and for the first time since you descended beneath the sands of Giza, feel a hole. You turn away from the glowing sphere, though it doesn't feel right to say you turn your back. No one really can. The heart of the city stays with you now, quiet warmth in your chest, like a song you heard long ago, and only just remembered how to hum. You look for the exit, the arch you entered from, gone, not crumbled, not hidden, just not there anymore. Instead, the wall opposite the sphere pulses, not with light, but with invitation, a curtain of mist, soft, luminous, impossibly still. You hesitate, but the memory of all you've seen, all you've been, tells you, this is the way. So you walk through it, and the world shifts. Not drastically, not violently, but in that quiet, almost annoying way dreams do, where a door turns into a forest, okay? And somehow, you're not surprised. You're in a hallway now, or what wants to. Can't be a hallway. Its shape flickers as you move. No edges, no floor. Really? Just the idea of one, solid enough to carry your steps, but vague enough to feel like it might vanish if you looked too long. Walls rise and fall beside you like breath. They hold no markings, no symbols, no certainty. Each step forward feels like you're writing the corridor yourself, but you're not. Not exactly. You realize it when you try to choose a direction, to turn left, to pause, to step back. In the hallway, assists gently, like a parent guiding a child away from a fire. You're not leading anymore. The city is. You walk with every step, a glimpse of a woman building a mosaic floor with tiny colored stones. It's a man crying as he covers a mural with clay, hiding it from raiders. A child dropping a pebble into a well and making a wish in a forgotten dialect. None of these are visions. They're pathways. Each step is laid down not by architecture, but by memory, and you are walking along the fault lines of emotion, curiosity, grief, hope. The city is showing you what it wants you to see now, not what you asked for, but what you need. You try to whisper a question, why me? And a wall to your right answers, with a sound like laughter caught underwater, melancholy, amused. The corridor curves, then curves again, endlessly, until you feel yourself becoming part of it, like the hallway is not leading you forward, but inward, to memories that haven't surfaced yet. Maybe yours, maybe not. You stop, only because the city lets you, and ahead a door, the first one you've seen in a long time. Wooden, carved with spirals, and slightly opened out beyond it. A glow, not gold, not blue, dot, green dot, live dot, breathing, dot, waiting. The hallway behind you vanishes. You're not surprised, because the city doesn't offer return trips, only deeper. It's journeys. You step through the wooden door, and the breath leaves your lungs in a slow, awed hush, because it's green, not a color you expected to see again down here. But this isn't ordinary green. This is ancient green, unwritten green. The color of moss-covered lullabies and leaves that never knew sunlight. You're standing in a garden, underground, without sky, without breeze, but full of life. It glows softly from the leaves themselves, a gentle bioluminescence, not enough to blind, just enough to guide the plants. Don't reach upward. There's no need. There's no sun to chase. Instead, they grow sideways, along the walls, twisting through arches, coiling gently like thoughts across a sleeping mind. Thick vines curl into symbols you can't read, but somehow understand. Everything here feels like memory turned botanical. You step forward. The ground beneath your feet is mossy, springy, cool. Your footfalls make no sound. Even your breath comes quieter here. Time, it seems, has stopped caring. A bird flutters Past dot at least, you think it's a bird. It has wings, feathers, but it moves like mist, like something that exists only between moments. You reach for a leaf. It curls toward you. It's not away. Its surface pulses lightly under your fingers, as if acknowledging your presence. You keep walking. The garden doesn't resist. It just bends, dot shifts, dot opens new paths where none were dot, and then you see it. The memorial in the center of it all. A stone structure, not tall, not grand, but complete, carved with care, weathered as if touched 1,000 times by hands that needed to remember something, but didn't know what. It hums, not audibly, but emotionally. You feel it in your chest, in the backs of your eyes. A pull. You kneel before it. There are no inscriptions, just an indentation at the top, perfect for your hand. You place your palm there, and suddenly, stillness, not silence, stillness. The garden fades around you, not disappears, just steps back, and you're suspended in a moment, so complete you forget what came before. No past, no future, just the now. The city is showing you its breath, its pause, its mourning, because this was not just a resting place. It was a goodbye, a collective exhale. Everything here was grown, not to sustain life, but to honor it, to soften the memory of loss so it could be carried, not buried. You press your other hand to the stone. Feel your own memory stirring. You don't choose which ones come up. The city does. A voice you forgot, a scent you didn't know you missed, a farewell that never got spoken. You blink, and the garden welcomes. You back the plants lean slightly in your direction now, not for attention, for recognition. You're part of it. You felt what it's holding. You rise. The stone is still warm. Under your fingers, the path ahead shimmers with soft emerald light. Somewhere, far above, the sands of Giza shift slightly in the wind, but down here, time is still, and the garden grows on. You follow the path of green until it fades, not into darkness, but into air, open, weightless air. You step into the next chamber and pause, because your foot doesn't land. Instead, it drifts, slowly, as if gravity itself has grown tired here, too old to hold things down. You're floating, not flying, not falling, just drifting. A quiet glide forward through a chamber that refuses to obey physics. There are no walls, no ceiling, no floor, only light, soft, muted, like moonlight, reflected off warm glass, and within it, hundreds of crystalline shapes. Some small, like pebbles, others the size of your torso. They hover gently, spinning in slow, lazy orbits. Each one glows faintly, different hue, blues, ambers, greens, even a soft crimson here and there. You reach for one dot, it flickers, and then you're inside it. Not physically, your mind is pulled in. You're now a baker's apprentice in a sunlit room. It's flour on your hands, laughing at a terrible joke from your mentor. You smell bread. Cute, you feel the heat of the oven, the ache in your knees from standing. Then you're back, floating again. Your hand hovers just an inch from the crystal. Another passes by. This time, you're a woman watching the stars from a rooftop. It's the last night before a journey, and you're scared, but hopeful. The memories here aren't yours, not in body, but your soul recognizes them, as if the hidden city is letting you dream someone else's dream. You float on. More crystals drift past, some fast, some slow, some pulsing softly, beckoning. You reach out to one, and you're holding a baby. It's not yours, but your arms. No, the weight. The lullaby forming on your lips is old, but familiar. And then, a different crystal, fractured, flickering, unstable. You don't mean to touch it, but it touches you. The pull is sudden, not violent, just inevitable. You're yanked inward, and what you find there isn't a memory, it's a rupture. You're standing at the edge, of a celebration. Music, laughter, torches glowing in the alleys. But no one can see you. You walk through the crowd. A wedding? Maybe? There's joy. But also, something off. A man with ink-stained hands clutches a scroll. Eyes wide, a woman whispers urgently to a guard in the distance. A rumble, not thunder, something rising. You try to step closer, but the scene glitches, dot repeats, changes. Now the wedding is a funeral, then a birth, then a birth, then courtroom, all in the same room, overlapping, conflicting, like multiple memories fighting for dominance. You realize this crystal didn't preserve a memory. It trapped them. A moment the city couldn't resolve. A moment too fractured, too painful, too tangled to let go. And now that you are part of it, you feel panic. Not yours. The city's. It didn't mean for you to come here. It didn't mean to remember this. You reach for anything, a sound, a name, a thread tanned, then something familiar. The flame from before. It's a soft whisper of the stairwell. It finds you, wraps around your hand, guides you out, back into the weightless chamber, back into yourself. You gasp. The crystal hovers nearby, still cracked, still flickering, but calmer now. Maybe your presence helped. Maybe it just needed to be seen. You float onward. More crystals pass you by, but now you understand. This isn't just a room of dreams. It's a library of unresolved souls, of joys unspoken, of griefs unburied, of truths not ready to be remembered. Until you arrived, you drift toward the edge of the chamber. Gravity returns. Gently, you feel your feet. Your breath settles, and the path ahead appears lined with lanterns that flicker like old heartbeat rhythms. The hidden city is nearly done showing you its memories, but not yet, not quite. You follow the lanterns. Their light is steady now, not flickering, not guiding, just waiting. You've passed gardens, memories, stars trapped in stone, but what lies ahead feels different. Final. There's a door, not hidden, not ornate, just there, made of smooth, dark wood. No carvings, no keyhole, only a thin slit at its center, like a mouth. You reach for the handle. There is none. Instead, words appear across the door's surface, not engraved, but whispered into existence. Tell us something true. The door doesn't ask for proof. It asks for honesty, not the kind others demand, the kind you hide from yourself. You hesitate. What truth could a city like this possibly want from you? The light dims slightly, not as punishment, as encouragement. So, you speak quietly. You tell it something you've never said aloud. Maybe it's about someone you miss, or something you regret, or a moment you once called trivial but can't forget, like the scent of a coat, or the sound of a goodbye that never came as your words leave your lips. The door begins to soften, its grain glowing faintly. Then it opens, no sound, no resistance, just acceptance. You step inside and your breath catches, because sitting on a low stone bench is you, but not quite the same eyes, the same posture, but older or younger, it's hard to tell. They wear robes of the same cloth you saw in murals, the fabric of those who once ruled or recorded or remembered. This version of you looks up and smiles, not with surprise, with recognition. You sit across from yourself, no words at first, just breath. Then they speak. If given a choice, would you stay? The voice is yours, but deeper, clearer, less uncertain. You don't answer immediately, because how could you? Stay where? As who? In what time? They tilt their head, waiting, not pressuring, inviting. So you ask, what happens if I do? They smile. You become part of the memory, not trapped, not erased, held, kept, sung to. And if I leave, you carry this place with you. Every hallway, every whisper, every stone you touched. You look around. The room is circular, simple. At its center, a basin of still water. You approach. Inside, you see your face, your past, your imagined futures, all drifting together. Nothing about this feels final. It feels cyclical, like every journey leads back here eventually. You turn back to the other you. Is there a right choice? They shake their head gently. Only the true one. You close your eyes. Breathe in the air of this ancient, hidden place that you speak your answer. Whatever it is, the city accepts it. The room fades, not in fear, in peace, and as it dissolves around you, you feel a warmth of memory that was never yours, but is now a part of you left behind, and something new taken with you. The path ahead appears, not behind a door, not through a tunnel, just ahead. And once again, if you walk without looking back. There's no need to. The version of you that sat in that quiet chamber, it remains. But you've begun to return, sort of, because the path ahead isn't a tunnel or a staircase or a crawl space. It's a hallway, long, straight, unbroken, and it rises, barely at first, like the slow incline of a dream. You don't realize it's shifting. The walls here are not carved or adorned. They are smooth, unmarked, but not empty, because along the length of the corridor, you hear them. Whispers, low, tender, and not ominous. They say only one word, thank you, in different voices. Old, young, foreign, familiar, not loud, never loud, but present. They echo gently, not just from the walls, but from the stones beneath your feet. You realize something. These voices aren't haunting you. They're releasing you, one by one. Each footstep unlocks a voice long held in silence, and it says, thank you for coming. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for seeing. Your breath grows lighter. Not faster, lighter. Your body doesn't ache from the walking. It begins to forget weight altogether. The incline steepens, but your feet move as if air were assisting them. The corridor begins to glow, not with torches, but from within the walls themselves, like the memory of sunrise filtered through ancient skin. And then a breeze, the first one you felt in hours, or years, or lives. It touches your face, soft as silk spun from quiet. You smile. You don't remember doing it, but it happens. And when you look ahead, the corridor ends, not abruptly like dusk meeting dawn. They blend, and beyond it, a ladder? No, a staircase, not quite just light. You step into it, and your name, not the one given to you by your parents, but the one only the hidden city knows, whispers back to you. One last time, you may go. You do. You rise. You surface. Sand greets you first, then the stars. The Giza Plateau stretches before you, unchanged, and yet you've never seen it like this. The wind feels kinder. The sky feels deeper, and in your pocket, something small and warm, you reach in. A single crystal, glowing softly, no bigger than a pebble, no heavier than a memory. You smile again, this time on purpose, and far below your feet, in the silence of stone, a city exhales. Your home, not in the poetic sense, but in the real, dusty laundry, faucet dripping, fridge humming kind of way. And for the first time, it doesn't feel dull. It feels quiet, and somehow more sacred. You walk past the mirror in your hallway. You look the same. No golden light radiating from your skin. No mysterious symbols carved into your arms. But something's different inside. Something still humming. The next few days move like mist. You make coffee. You water the plant you always forget about. You respond to texts that feel like echoes. But every now and then, when the light hits the floor just right, or a door creaks in an unfamiliar way, you pause. Because something inside you is listening, waiting, as if the city still speaks through vents, through shadows, through the tiny, quiet moments we usually brush past. And then you dream, not of flying or falling, but of corridors, stone ones, warm ones, ones you've never seen. But remember, you drift through them in your sleep. No fear, only recognition. You passed the broken crystal again. You wave to yourself across the garden. You float once more in the chamber of memories, but this time you are the guide. You're showing someone else the way. Maybe a version of you, maybe not. You wake up slowly, as if surfacing from water. The sound of your fan is soft and round, like a voice you've missed. The sky outside is pale, it's beginning to blush with morning, and you lay there, blanket tangled, eyes half closed, remembering. Not everything the city doesn't let you get all, but just enough to wonder, enough to listen, because now you know. There are places beneath the sand that don't stay buried, places that choose who may enter, and who may carry their stories upward. You were one of them, and maybe, just maybe, you still are. The day begins, you stretch, and in your pocket, the crystal is gone, but somehow you know exactly where it is. Thank you so much for drifting through this forgotten story with me tonight. If you enjoyed this gentle journey beneath the sands, please consider subscribing to the Night Histories. It helps more than you know. And if you like, leave a comment below telling me where you're listening from or what time it is for you right now. It's always beautiful seeing how far our sleepy little travels reach. If you'd like more tales like this, ones about ancient riddles, lost chambers, and quiet truths that wait patiently in the dark, be sure to check out our other videos. You might enjoy When the Pharaoh Disappeared or The Pyramid That Was Never Built. But for now, let the story fade. Let the voices dim. Let the sand settle. You are safe. You are warm. You're remembered. So now close your eyes. Let the hush return. Let the hidden city keep secrets. Let your breath slow, and let the night wrap around you like an old, familiar song. Good night, and sweet dreams.